Welcome to Space Couch. I'll get the screens up as they should be eventually. I got excited. Let me get my dancing 5 out of there. Now you know we're live because I already screwed it up a little bit. Call the spaceships to Davenport. Prepare for Divanarchy and interface with a couch in space. We're back for season 5, the longest break we've ever taken here on Space Couch. And Ray, friend of the show, is the first commenter for 2022. So far as I understand it to be 2022 on your planet there on Earth. Time gets weird out here when you're when you're on the cusp of the universe, just nanoseconds behind the edge of the Big Bang, if that's even how it works. I haven't figured it out yet. But what I do know is that today's show is sponsored by Tiger Squawk Records. You want to check out all these wonderful albums, many of them free at tigersquawkrecords.bandcamp.com, including 3 new singles from Churches out of England. Not Churches, Circles. I messed it up. Landscape by the Machine is on Tiger Squawk now. It's amazing. Book of Brimstone from Superhero Science Fiction. You want to check out the new track from Duckbag TM. It's quite good. Ludo's Lex, new side project from Peel Brigade, available now. Sanity Checks. That's me and Planet Damage out of Budapest. The Red Panda Jamboree single as remixed by Superheroes Funker Folk. Oh no, I put up the wrong slide. Also out today, a new album from Isserly and a new episode of Otterbat Super Chat. Check those out. Otterbatsuperchat.bandcamp.com is my podcast. Those are all different shows and releases because I want to put that away for now so I can tease our guest today because I'm super pumped to talk to this person. They reached out to me after DragonCon and just have a lot to offer because, as you know, we do love our gaming and all things con here on Space Couch. And it's not even, that's just the tip of the nerdly iceberg. So let's get right into it after saying hi to Grasp Logic, Tiger Squawk Superstars in the chat room, and Furroy, everybody's favorite Commodore 64 video game programmer. So without further ado, let's get into this. This is going to be great. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome in their debut on Space Couch, DJ Foxy. What's going on? Hey, thanks so much for coming out. I'm going to manually adjust this window size for now, but that might snap back. It's because, you know, we got a little bit of solar radiation here out in space, and it affects us. But, you know, I decided to use living on just the knife's edge of mortality to interview people who are wonderful and great, like yourself. So we find you nominally, so far as I understand it, on Twitch doing DM mercenary work. It sounds like, and don't ever put words in your mouth, but so looks like now your main jam is a game called Dungeon Crawl Classics. Is that accurate?
Oh yeah, DCC is awesome.
Okay, cool. Like I wasn't familiar with it, but it looks great. It's like new old school.
Yeah.
Is awesome. Like we were talking before the show started about me having to sneak into the library to try to rent a room to play what was then current but now old school D&D second edition. So is it like that, or like the wizard has like 3 hit points and falls over in a stiff breeze sort of a thing?
Yeah, and
Cool.
You know, if he miscasts a spell, he might grow a tentacle or something, or you start just. His skin might turn pink, you know? Like
Love it. I love it. So we got this wonderful old school game, but let's even take a step back from that. How did you get into the tabletop role-playing game world, and what led you to Dungeon Crawl Classic specifically?
Well, I think what I started with was just like a group of buddies that we played on Skype,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't even the dungeon master
Mm-hmm.
right off the bat. Um, it was just like we were doing different campaigns like over Skype because we had played at IRL, in high school,
Yeah.
but then we're like, why are we going to stop playing? We can
Mm.
do it over the internet. So we just kept doing it, and then I started dungeon mastering Paranoia, the
Okay,
game
love it.
Paranoia, which
Par-
is about it's like a dystopian,
yeah.
like you live in Alpha Complex and everyone is a clone.
Cool. Cool.
So that's the system I actually started out with.
Nice, man.
Uh, but yeah.
So you're we're doing Paranoia, love it,
Mhm.
and you're continuing high school games on the internet, and then uh, when did this idea of because I didn't even know we could do this, just like sort of DM work for hire, like how did that percolate in your wonderful Fox brain?
Well, so it all starts with startplaying.games, which is like this
Okay.
website that I think I bumped into it because like I saw an ad for it on Facebook actually,
Hmm.
or like Instagram or something, and I was like, what? I was like, DM startplaying.games. It's like connecting DMs with players. I was
Yeah.
like, I think I want to get involved in that
Awesome.
because like
Awesome.
I was like, well, if I can get paid for what I just do normally, I was like, why not? I
Very
could use the
cool.
cash, so. So I go to start playing that games, and I start running some free games,
Mm-hmm.
and then I got all my friends to give me positive reviews on that website,
Mm-hmm.
and like I'm up to like 30 something reviews at this point, which
Kick
is like
ass.
quite a bit for most GMs on that
Okay,
site.
that's
So.
well. Magsec4 said, "There he is. It's Foxy," with a lot of exclamation points. Uh, Ken Magerman, superstar from Sound and Shadows, is here. What's up, Ken? And Furroy says, "I got to see the author of Paranoia run a campaign at an early Gen Con. It was hilarious." That's cool.
That's
Uh,
rad.
so we have. Uh, all these great reviews. Let's take. I put all my space equipment down. I should really label it better because if I turn off the oxygen or something, we'll all die. But let's check out the DM, if that's even the word to use. I'm not sure what Dungeon Crawl Classics calls it.
Judge.
Judge. Let's check out the judge stylings of DJ
Mhm.
Foxy.
Who do you want to go first?
Gringill Metzen feels like a fish out of water. He was minding his own business, being on a boat, praying to the almighty Dagon, and
There's a big bee man next to you. He's like buzzing slightly.
I'm huge. I'm gigantic.
He's humongous. Now, as you creak this door open, you hear something pop and click, and there is this whir and a buzz, and there's this machine that drops down from the ceiling. It buzzes and whirs, and then it has this tube, this barrel-like tube on the front of it, that it starts to glow a bright red, and it shoots a beam of energy straight towards where you're at, BJ.
All right. So that was dope. Magsec4 says, "I love that Fishman," which is hilarious because we were talking about Fishman while the clip is playing. I have giant fish fin tattoos. So you
Oh
are in
yeah.
the right place, Magsec4. And Ken says that's awesome online. Do you have some games? Do you have some? Do you have some you could have posted? Right. Okay. So, where do we check you out? Do you have like a URL you can plug?
So you can check out the Liching Hour. The
The
Liching Hour.
Liching Hour. Love it.
So we have a bunch of judges that run games on that particular channel.
Mm-hmm.
It's all the Lich's show though. He runs Viva la Dungeon
Mm-hmm.
every other Friday, or sorry, or Tuesdays. Tuesdays is when we're doing Viva la Dungeon. Gotta
Okay.
get it right. But
All right.
Tuesdays. So check out the Lich at the Liching Hour. Then he does like a battle royale dungeon.
Oh,
So
nice.
it's PvP.
Oh, okay.
hmm And whoever wins gets a free T-shirt.
It's PvP tabletop?
Yes.
Cool. So is it like competitive dice rolling? How would you explain that to?
More or less, like everybody, like you go around this like randomly generated dungeon, and you like pick up items and stuff.
Okay, great.
It's
great.
like Fortnite, except
Okay.
it uses the Dungeon Crawl Classics rules system.
Oh,
Okay?
oh, you love it. Oh man, my I want to roll up a rogue something fierce right now. I'm so pumped to do some RPGing. Although I dipped my fishy big toe into game mastering, dungeon mastering, judging, but was never wildly strong at it. This will be my next gift card to send my group a 3-shot game. Awesome, Ken, making up, getting fans here on Couch. For a first time, I'll say DM just because that's what I grew up with. What if someone's coming over from the player side? Like, what advice could you give?
I think reading, like if you're going to run a campaign module,
Yeah.
I'd say read the whole module before you run it.
Okay. Simple, but it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and the other thing is be flexible.
What do you mean?
So like if a player wants to run off the rails and go do like oh, I want to like go over to this other part of the castle, like I want to climb up the back end of the castle. As a DM, it's your job to figure out like how that plays out according to the story. Because the idea behind D&D that differentiates it from like a video game is that you can really interact with this world in any way that the DM feels creative enough to let you.
Totally. You know? That's always what I loved about DMing, or not DMing, tabletop RPGs, is that as long as you're having fun, you're doing it right. And, if somebody's like, I want to climb up the backside of the castle, you can't say, well, it doesn't exist because I haven't written it out. Like, it's on you, man. That's the game you're playing. So very good advice. Be flexible. Read the whole module. Is there like a tendency to just sort of be like, just start from the start, and you don't want to keep your players just like sitting there eating corn chips while you're like, let me find out what happens next, and like you're flipping ahead, kind of a thing? Yeah. Cool.
You want to be able to know what happens next.
Right. Yeah. Nobody signed up to have you read a book in front of them. Well, that's an interesting angle too, because now you're in the DM for Higher World is fascinating. Is it like completely herding cats, or does that group tend to be like super focused from the get?
It's interesting. I've had like different types of groups. Like right now, I've got like a campaign. I ran a campaign for a couple actually. That they both wanted to learn.
Sweet.
Yeah, they wanted to learn how to play Dungeons and Dragons. So my partner was like, well, like you can add me to their game, and then they can pay you like, $25 a session. Mm-hmm. And then boom, that's like a side hustle for me. So that was
amazing.
Actually my first paid D&D campaign was this couple that wanted to learn how to play D&D. And that was really fun.
That's great.
I had them go through the goblin caves. I was like, let's go Tolkien.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, we're just gonna like, you're in the caves with some goblins. They want to kill you. Like, like, gotta get out.
Right. Real. We'll get into, political intrigue or other subtle forms of play later. But for now, try not to get stabbed by Splug. Love it.
Exactly.
Very cool. I am something of a sucker for gaming stories. Anything happened recently you could relay in game world that seemed fun?
I was thinking about some of my stories. I remember there was this one time I ran this campaign module about a time traveler's secret lair.
Okay.
And there were these cavemen that were exploring this lair. And one of them was a mutant, okay? And they had like metal, they could like control metal with their mind.
Okay.
That was their mutant power, so they were like,
oh, like full X-Men style.
Yeah, like Magneto.
Right.
So like so he like he comes up to the front of the door there because like there's this door like they're only supposed to be able to open like with a yellow key, you know,
Okay.
like Barrier Peaks, you know, like
Sure.
you're only able to open that with like that yellow key. They didn't have the key, but he
Uh-huh.
had Magneto powers, so it didn't fucking matter, like so he just like opens that up, and then they got to like the true ending like way before they were supposed
Oh
to.
yeah. Well, then again, that's where the flexibility of the top-rated DJ Foxy comes into play. Check them out at the Liching Hour. That's twitch.tv/the Liching Hour. Yeah.
The Liching Hour, yeah. So
Nice.
the Lich, he runs his Viva la Dungeon show, but then I run Crypt of the Dice Gods. That's
Crypt of the Dice
Foxy's
Gods.
show.
So yes. So
Yes.
it's not your channel. You are on that URL.
Yeah, it's like a group channel.
Love it. So this is interesting. The DCC people. I'm blanking on the larger company, but they have like a cadre of DMs like yourself. It seems like that. Like you're like a Justice League of role play. That's kind of awesome.
Oh yeah, we have a big group. I think probably the coolest of all of us is probably Michael Curtis. He's so awesome.
Okay.
Love that guy.
So it's really this sort of community that comes. Okay, very cool. Wow, the Goodman games. Sorry, I don't know why I just blanked on that.
Goodman Games.
Okay, cool. And we'll check out that sort of like rotating cast of characters. It seems like everybody sort of brings their own personality to a game. And when we go to the Liching Hour, are we watching you judge, or is that like discussion games?
So what you broadcasted just there was a clip from my show Crypt of the Dice Gods.
Okay.
And Crypt of the Dice Gods is this I like generate it on a grid.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Here's one of the grids. So I just roll like 4-sided dices repeatedly, and then some 6-sided dices, and then I just generate a dungeon.
Very cool.
That people play on the internet, and we broadcast that straight from Discord.
Very cool.
To Twitch.
Okay.
And you can be anybody you want in Foxy's dungeon. Like you can have any sort of backstory.
Oh wow.
And
Okay.
be from any sort of setting, and have any sort of weird power you want. Because the idea is it's like Foxy's like yoinking people out of time and space and like ripping them into her crypt.
Ah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So there's a lot of weird stuff in Foxy's crypt too, for that reason, because there's like stuff from all different kinds of realities.
Oh, I love your space background, by the way. Thank you for also broadcasting from out here in the cosmos. And what a fun concept for a game is that you're just snatching people from planes of existence. That's really cool. Oh,
and many of them are actually my separate campaigns that I run. Like,
oh wow,
like a lot of the people who've been on the show have played that character in a completely different campaign from the other guy, but they're like from different timelines.
Bridging universes. Wow, it is a multiverse of I won't say madness, but curated fun on from Goodman Games and DJ Foxy.
The Foxyverse.
The Foxyverse. If you had sort of godlike power to fix it, are any rules, like if you want to get down into crunch, anything bugging you right now about like D&D 5e or DCC, anything you could change if you had the godlike power to do so?
I would probably like get rid of a bunch of rules in 5e.
Okay.
I'd like simplify it way down.
Oh, really? Okay.
Make it like... I almost feel like I'd rather have the dice chain from DCC in 5e. Because like 5e has the advantage thing where you're like, oh, you have a... Now, DCC has this thing where you just roll a bigger dice. if you get like a bonus, like you're like, okay, well, instead of rolling a d20, now you roll a d24.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay, so you're not messing with some sort of complicated like extra die or whatever. Even though I just spilled a little bit of coffee, but that's okay. We'll clean that up after the show. Let's focus on the DJ part of DJ Foxy. What are you spinning these days, and where in Coronaverse? if that's even a thing.
Well, I mean, like I've been just making Spotify playlists.
Awesome.
I've been listening to a lot of Dorian Electra.
Okay.
The artist Dorian Electra, they're like this hyperpop musician who's like Joker, sort of.
Okay, cool.
They're
Cool. Out of
awesome.
American.
Yeah, they are American.
Okay, cool.
And they just like they make kind of like goofy music, and it's check out their album My Agenda. That's
Cool.
really good.
We will check out My Agenda from Dorian Electro. Thank you for the heads up on that. You have a very interesting, I'll call it a text offering platform, releasing inspirational essays, poems. I'm not sure what the word to use is by way of Reddit. From whence are these drawn, and why that platform?
So, are you like referring to like the reviews that I've got
Yeah.
on StartPlaying.games and stuff like
Well,
that?
no, I went through the Instagram account. You have a link to some
Oh,
writings on Reddit. I don't know if those are like millions of years old, but I thought it was
they
pretty
may
interesting.
be.
Yeah.
That, Reddit, man, I don't even use Reddit to be
Oh,
honest.
okay,
Like,
cool, cool. All right, well, we're all about getting to the bottom of things here on Space Couch, and
yeah.
all right, old stuff. All right, we won't
Is that
even.
the Your Thoughtful Ninja Instagram account you're talking about, or
Brash.kd.
I don't think that one's not my account.
I
That's
thought that
weird.
was your account. All right, that's
I
embarrassing.
can link my Insta.
All right,
My
yeah,
Insta is Your Thoughtful Ninja.
your
That's
thoughtful
the
ninja. All right, I screwed up here on Space Couch. Mark the twine. It's never happened and will never happen again. I'm kidding. It happens every
knock on
episode.
wood.
That's what we do here. I should be dead 1,000 times over. I can't even man a spaceship. What am I doing looking at Instagram? I got that sentence backwards. Our paths crossed. Last year, I am out in space, but do maintain a base on terra firma in Boston, in the United States. And the Gothsicles got the phone call I've been waiting for 20 years, and got to headline set it at DragonCon, which is where you were in attendance and were wonderful enough to reach out to me afterwards. So DragonCon I have now experienced, but there's such a gestalt around it that I'm just barely starting to sort of crack the surface on. I was wondering if you could like give us some DragonCon survivor tips, and if you plan to do 2022, or if that's something you do every year and are involved in. Just tell me about. Let's start with DragonCon survivor tips. Like, what could you tell us?
I'd say for like survival tips,
Yeah.
like if you're really tired, just go sit down and listen to some music. That's the best way to do that because they do have live music at DragonCon, and if it's in various different locations, different years, but if you can find it, you can sit down and you can have like a decompression moment.
Oh,
I
that's
found
very
that.
good. Let me back up a step for the uninitiated. I'm assuming everybody knows what DragonCon is, but if you don't, it's a con, as the name would imply, but I say that with a little bit of an asterisk because it's gigantic. Like I was used to the fan run cons that take over a Holiday Inn Express for a weekend. This was 5 billion hotels. You take over Atlanta, Georgia. It's the scope of it was just awesome to me. I'm walking around going like, this is insane. And so, yes, decompression is key. And there's sort of live music going on all the time. So sort of mirroring those moments of I need to sit down and I sort of want to is very subtle but very good. Thank you for that tip. Because sometimes next thing, because there's it's a con. There's 18 things going on at any given time. But if you can line up your breaks with the live music, I love that. Do you do anything? I mean, do you do things? But like, do you run like any panels or anything like that at DragonCon, or do you purely take it in?
So my plan for next year is I want to work at the tabletop track, and I'm going to try to get in there as one of the DMs because they have like
Awesome.
open gaming at
Mhm.
DragonCon, so you can sit down and play Dungeon Crawl Classics with DJ Foxy if you want. Currently, Goodman Games is trying to get me a spot there,
Okay.
which I'm thinking it's going to happen for next year.
Awesome.
So I hope Godsicles is there
Ah,
because I want
well,
to play.
yeah, okay. We will make a space pact right now that if the Gothsicles get our slot and DJ Foxy gets theirs, we are going to crawl so many dungeons, classically. Furroy says, I am a lifetime member. Awesome. If you have any sway, let's make this our official Space Couch endorsement video for DJ Foxy. You have the weight of the Space Couch party behind you. Don't go too hard on your first night. Pace yourself, says Furroy. Agree. I definitely passed out in a potted plant at DragonCon in 2006.
You
but
get messed up.
yeah, that happens. Do you do any cosplay while you're there, or do you stick with the Foxy ethos?
I do the Foxy look. I
Mhm.
also did Beast Boy
Oh,
year
love it!
before last. That was fun.
Awesome.
Yeah, my
Uh,
partner did Raven too, so that was dope.
Well done, well done. One of my favorites, sort of relationships in all of DC. Um, Speaking of things that begin with DC, what am I talking about? That's cool. We'll check that out. Yeah, there's the open gaming room goes 24. Not I don't know if it's 24 hours, but it's
I feel like it might be. There's like games that are going on like till the early
yeah.
AM sometimes.
If you're at DragonCon and you don't know you can't find something to do, that's on you. There's just millions of things going on, and hopefully one of them will be Foxy. But you'll be you can just DM either way, right? Like at the open game room.
I think so, but I think in order to be like one of the official game DMs, like you need some kind of endorsement or
Okay.
something like that. So
All right.
I'm
So
looking to get that endorsement to gain that power.
very cool.
You know, like
Well, my name is
Nitty-
Brian for the Gothsicles, and I endorse this candidate for judgitude, supreme judge, Supreme Court. The real. Let's get into some of the DJ Foxy superhero origin story a little. Do you remember your favorite childhood toy and why?
I think it was an Iron Man action figure.
Nice.
Yeah, it was like you could take his mask off and then you could like see Tony Stark's face underneath it. It's like
Cool. Was that the Robert Downey Jr. version, or is that like a non-movie?
no,
Okay.
this was like before the Robert Downey Jr. movie came
Okay,
out.
I don't know how old you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool. I love it. Pre-MCU action figures. Always a fan of comic book stuff. And okay, cool. You could take his mask off. I didn't know what Tony Stark looked like for a long time, and till I got into the comic books. So, if we go back to your Spotify playlist, let's say 3 to 5 of those musicians form like a classic Dungeons and Dragons, I should say, party. Like, who does what class?
I was thinking for Dorian, like if I had a party of like celebrity musicians, I think I'd have Dorian Electra
Yeah.
as like some sort of like spell sword.
Mm.
Maybe a bard of some.
Okay.
I think a bard. I'd have Dorian Electra as a bard.
Strong.
An
Strong.
elf bard. And then we'd have Tommy Cash. He's a human fighter.
Okay.
What else do we got? We got Laura Less. They're She's probably like some kind of. She's a warlock.
Okay, definitely.
She's definitely a warlock. And then Dylan Brady is a wizard.
Love it, love it. I saw Andrew WK in your Spotify playlist, and of course my initial instinct was to have him as some sort of brawler fighter, but like I think I kind of want him as like a war priest because he's got that sort of rallying presence. But like we're gonna something go, you know.
Yeah, I completely understand. Yeah, I agree. You know what? That one's going on the list. He's there as well.
Very cool. And then the Gossicles can be court jesters or whatever the particular game calls the dump class.
A rogue, apparently.
The rogues, because we do our own thing. And I don't know, cause massive damage. There you go. It kind of worked. Hey, all right. The anything you want to judge or DM or preside over game-wise that you haven't had a chance to yet?
Ooh, I'm thinking of making like a 5e homebrew for Halo. Like I want like Spartans. I want the party to be Spartans.
Very
And
cool.
I'm actually thinking 5e would be really good to like homebrew for that because it's so like it's so modular. It's like all about like different types of tactics that you can like specialize your character as, and I think that would fit really well for like Spartan combat. I guess.
No, I dig it. That's cool. So it's like you would have to. Interesting. Yeah, I suppose because you could take different roles, quote unquote, in like a military setting and so forth. But you know, you're using giant space guns and fighting aliens and all that great stuff.
Yeah.
Would
I
you?
love like Space Marine type aesthetic stuff. That's just so cool.
I love it, and I am a sucker for crazy like the Gamma World stuff we were talking about. So like, you know. If at one point like a two-headed yeti who majored in philosophy and has a tentacle for a right arm jumps in, you know, I wouldn't complain. But you do your homebrew game the way you want to. Do you remember the first character you ever created for like a role-playing game setting?
Oh, he was Grash.
Okay.
Grash,
Oh, you remember his name?
The orc.
That's
amazing. He was a member of this like orc race that was like cursed.
Okay.
So they look like regular orcs, except they are like super smart.
Okay.
So everybody like judges them as like being barbaric, but they're like, actually, we're quite civilized.
Awesome.
You know, but like nobody would know that. But they keep like Grash started mutating into a dragon.
Wow.
In that campaign.
Oh,
so
wow.
that was.
You remember all of it. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's my first, you know. It's
No,
my first
yeah,
love.
I love it. No, that I 6th grade I rolled up Drax that I named after Drax the Destroyer, but you know that Guardians of the Galaxy movie was 20 years down in the future at that point. Yeah, he was a halfling rogue that wore a top hat because I thought that was cool because I was 12.
So fucking cute.
Right. Yeah, like he'd be some rake hell rogue with a a pre-gothic Brian is figuring out how to work in top hats and poison darts and shit. Yeah, that was for 2nd edition. That was cool. I'm sorry that I screwed up your Instagram, but do you have any other URLs you would want to plug here on Couch?
I also do stuff on Femboy Reads. That's my
Okay.
Twitch handle.
All right.
That's my personal Twitch, and on there, pretty much what I do is I read like sword and sorcery and horror as like bedtime stories to people if they want to listen.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Is it episodic? Like, do you go by chapter, or is it like one story?
Recently, I've been reading. No, here it is. Recently, I've been reading Jack Vance, Dying Earth.
Okay, cool.
And this is just, so this is like a set of short stories.
That's amazing.
That's how the beginning of beginning of his work was. But on my Femboy Reads channel, you can actually check me out reading this book to people.
Oh, love it.
And yeah, it's really good shit.
Definitely check out Femboy Reads. That's coming at a very exciting time for me because I can't fucking read anymore. Like, I don't know, like high school, like my ability to read things just like went away. But we just played a con in Washington, D.C. that was the 79th annual science fiction convention. It was WorldCon. It was like literary based. That's what you did. So I read a Conan book. I finally read a book recently.
Which one?
Conan the Renegade. I definitely prefer the Howard stuff to any of the later sort of imitators. I don't say the word imitator derisively. He was dead, so what else are you going to do? The original author, but Lee Carpenter's style I've just discovered, and like I like his style. The book's from 1980. It's before I was born, but it's still really great. So I'm all excited, like about reading again. And now I just find out that our today's guest does wonderful sword and sorcery reading at Femboy Reads, twitch.tv/Femboy Reads, as found by Mordeth, who was just over here on the space station yesterday helping fix my 3D printer. But that has nothing to do with our conversation. Sorry, I just wanted to shout out my buddy. But we will check out the stylings of Jack Vance at Femboy Reads. Very cool. Do you have a favorite author?
It's starting to be Jack Vance, I think.
Nice.
It was Howard, but now I think it's Vance.
Oh, was it Ron Howard or
Robert E. Howard?
Robert E. Not Rob Howard, not Ron Howard.
Ron Howard.
Yeah. Like I like that director's writings. His movies are shit, but no, yeah, awesome. I am.
Maybe I'll start reading Conan.
Yes. Well, I'm something of a Robert Howard super fan. The horrific racism notwithstanding, I do like a lot of his stuff. I definitely recommend any of the Conan books. You can't go wrong. And they're in the public domain, so if you want to check them out if you're on the train or something and don't have the room to read, you can listen to them on any LibriVox recording. Sorry, I got Furry says I reread every Conan story. I reread, every Conan story last year. Good man. We will look for his upcoming Conan themed video game. Maybe we'll see. I'm teasing it.
I hope so.
Yeah, no, I got the demo. It's really good. So we'll look for that coming soon from Furroy. Amusingly enough, the author I took my username from wrote a number of Conan books, but I haven't read any of them. All right, well, we'll check out Mordeth's. That's the Wheel of Time guy. Wrote a bunch of Conan stories. Okay, cool. I didn't know there was a connection there, but I will definitely check that out. Sorry, we got into Conan the Barbarian talk, and then like my eyes rolled back in my head like a shark, and I just sort of yap when I get excited.
Lovecraft's pretty good too.
You are in the right place. We are Lovecraftian maniacs. That's sort of our jam. Lovecraft's great. Call of Cthulhu, the tabletop RPG, is essentially the theme of the new album from Sanity Checks. I will give myself a plug. But yeah, sanitychecks.bandcamp.com is basically me and Planet Damage from Hungary collaborating on songs about breaking into scientists' house after midnight and strange noises coming from the basement. Check that out. Anything that you might think, any properties that you could see translated well to the tabletop RPG sphere?
Well, other than Halo, let's see here.
You did give me that. Sorry.
Yeah, I think Halo would be freaking awesome. What else did I think?
Would you have to incorporate like physics Are you incorporating like some weird gravitational loop physics? I'm not
That
sure.
could maybe like factor into like how the combat works. Like,
Okay.
oh, if you're in this level of gravity, then
Mhm.
you get this bonus or whatever.
Right.
And that's what would factor into it being like a 5e homebrew, I guess.
Okay, cool. Because
Um,
for the audience, like Halo, at least the ones I've played, takes place on like a space station essentially that's like a donut, and so if you look up, you'll see like another country. Um, so that might be a really fun world. All right, cool. When you're DJing like with your friends in meet space or real life or whatever, uh, does the online sphere present challenges from that? Like, what specifically did you find you needed to adjust, if anything, after moving to the online world?
you got to make sure you have a good internet connection, that's for sure. You know, if you don't have one, then
Yeah.
that's it.
Okay.
I think also like another thing is like like you really have to be way more dramatic when
Interesting.
you're judging like on the internet because like you have to really grab people's attention.
Okay.
It's like you have to be just like up in their face. Something has to be happening every single moment that they have to interact with in the story and all these different
Interesting.
things, you know. And it presents all these like challenges where you're like because easily somebody could just tab out and
Okay.
like start browsing the internet or like
The
look on their phone
distraction
or
is
something.
too much. Okay. Yeah. So not only is it it may be harder to like I don't know, read somebody's body language or something over the internet. Uh,
Mhm.
the the temptation to distraction is there. I didn't think of that. So do you find yourself being like just giant with like hand movements or voice inflection and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, like something weird is happening every moment. Like, you know, oh, now there's like you're walking into the next room. There's a Zothian in a tube, and it's gonna break out. You know, I don't like. So for my main campaign setting, it's basically cave people.
Okay,
Everyone's a cave person,
love it.
and they're exploring around this land called the Far North.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, there's always something really dangerous in the far north, or something that you really have to like pay attention to, or you might die. You
Okay.
know, like it's just not a. It's because survival of the fittest. You know, there's the two genders,
Okay.
hunter and gatherer.
Oh, the
Uh,
genders?
those are the genders, hunter
Oh,
and gatherer.
interesting. Okay.
Kind of joking, but at the
No,
same time,
I
I'm
don't
not.
know. I mean, well, that's the cool thing about tabletop RPGs is that you can change the world or the reality to such a degree that okay, hunter's a gender now, which sounds silly if I say it, but it may be totally apt in a game world I've never played before.
It is in Neolithic times.
All right. So you're cave people, not like a
Yeah,
dude living in a cave. You're like Unga
no.
Bunga. Okay.
Yeah, you're Unga Bunga. Like you're like all my players were Unga Bungaing for like all of last year.
There's another setting I've never seen in tabletop RPG world. That's
Yeah,
fascinating. No, that's really cool because it's like, yeah, they had to figure some shit out too. Um,
they found a spaceship,
hell yeah,
a crashed one.
hell
Yeah,
so good.
yeah.
Um, so what's your next thing? Like, what's in the clip for the mighty DJ Foxy?
Well, next I got DragonCon.
Hmm.
That's coming up pretty soon. But we're also gonna stream X Crawl
Well,
on Goodman Games Official
DragonCon 2022.
2022. That's the plan.
Okay, so
2022. I want to be there for
you just said it's
2022.
coming up, so I was thrown for a second because it's not traditionally till September. But are you starting
Yeah,
your okay? So that's how far back
that's a
your
big
campaign is going. Okay.
big plan. But I'm also planning to do. I'm gonna be streaming on Goodman Games Official. We're gonna be doing X Crawl.
Cool.
And that's actually where the DJ name comes from, because
Okay.
DJs are the dungeon judges of the
Fascinating. Okay.
in the system X Crawl, because X Crawl is set in modern times.
Okay.
Okay, except magic is real, and like elves and orcs and dwarves are also real.
Okay.
But it's like TV show called X Crawl, and it's like a Running Man,
Okay.
except like so he's broadcast these dungeons on live television, and the X Crawlers go into the dungeon judge, their dungeon,
Okay.
and they try to survive.
All right.
And then if
Cool.
they do, they get fame, fortune, and
Right.
riches. But we're gonna broadcast that on Goodman Games pretty soon. The Goodman Games official. That's a big one that's coming up.
Awesome.
Then probably they'll announce it on the Goodman Games website. So that's something to take a look out for.
Is the time slot for that still pending, or do you know when that's?
I think tentatively we're thinking 28th, but like
Very
I'm trying
cool.
to organize a group of yuppies to do a D&D stream. So it's
Sure.
it's a struggle.
All right.
sometimes.
Well, either way, let's check out the official D&D. Excuse me, Goodman Games
Website.
website for that stream of X-Crawl with today's guest DJ Foxy. That sounds really cool. So that's sounds like a big level up to actually get to the Goodman Games website. As good on you, good on you. That's really exciting. Speaking of exciting, we're going to sort of close out. We're on a rogue, pardon the pun, rogue flight path out here in space, and we're going to bring on this flying couch back into the station shortly. I need to know if you can. If you want to recommend any games outside of Judgment Call Classics, just because we've been talking about that one, and any URLs you want to plug as we head on out into space.
I'd say check out Blackout in Crater Valley.
Okay.
I'm really good friends with a guy named Zog who makes that. It's like 80s. You're like a bunch of 80s school children trying to not get killed by supernatural forces.
Oh my gosh, it's my life. All right, sweet. We'll check that out.
Yeah, so that one's worth checking out. I think that one's still working on getting kickstarted, but I've play tested it. It's super awesome. And if you go to one of Goodman Games' conventions, you can play test it as well.
Okay, and so what was the name of that one? I'm sorry.
That's called Blackout in Crater Valley.
Blackout in Crater Valley. Like, oh my God, for real, totally awesome. We'll check that out. And I'm wearing Thundercat socks now, so your 80s references are apt. And we want to check out, of course, twitch.tv/The Liching Hour. Femboy Reads also on Twitch. Anything else you want to let us know about here in the cosmos?
Just keep playing or keep rolling dice.
Keep rolling those dice.
Yeah.
And I may want to paraphrase what you just said for like a Space Couch bumper sticker with something weird's happening all the time, or something weird's happening every minute. I'll have to go back and get the exact quote because I liked it so much. But right, okay, we are going to punch out in a second. So this is Brian for Space Couch, for DJ Foxy by way of Or Stolzer Wonderful Things, saying, call the spaceships the Davenport, prepare for Divanarchy, and interface with the couch in space. Space Couch out. Oh, hey, I gotta jump back in because I gotta tell you that I screwed up the credits that I'll run here, so you can't hear me while the credits are going, but I'll be back in just a second. All right, bye.